פסחים פרק ג' משנה ג'. משנתנו דנה בעיסה. We're talking about dough. Again, this is Pesach. They're making dough. שנטמעה ביום טוב של פסח. It says, this dough became tame because it became impure on Yom Tov of Pesach. If it was during Challah Moed, it's not a problem. You can go and burn it. But we're going to see on Yom Tov itself, there's going to be a problem. What's going to be the problem? The problem is, כיצד מפרישים ממנה חלה? How are you going to take out the portion of the Kohen from it?
It's done.
Oh, it's tame, exactly.
The Kohen cannot eat it.
Very good. So how are you going to take out the portion of the Kohen from it? We're going to see what the problem is soon. להבנת בעיית המשנה יש להקדים. To understand this Mishnah, we have to have an introduction. שאם העיסה טהורה, let's say it was pure dough, right? It wasn't an impure dough, it was pure dough. מפרישים מן החלה, the way you would do it, you would bake, you take out a piece of bread, a piece of the dough you would take out, ואופים אותה לצורך הכהן, and you will bake a special bread for the Kohen. They'll make certain markings on it, that they know this is the Kohen's and all the rest are ours. So in a regular manner, that's what you would do. You take the dough, you bake it. You bake matzah for the Kohen, pita for the Kohen. Yeah. Why? Because you have to take it out, כדי שלא להשותה שם התחמיץ. And you have to bake it immediately, so it doesn't become chametz. ונותנים את החלה האפויה לכהן, and once you have baked challah, it's not after the bake comes in, it stops the leavening, and now you can give it to the chametz. But over here, now you're going to have a problem. So what's the problem? בעיסה שנטמעה, over here, the whole dough becomes tame. Now for you, it's not a problem. But for the Kohen, you can eat it, but the Kohen is a problem. הרי ההבחלה שמפרישים ממנה, so the challah that you're going to separate for the Kohen, אינה ראויה לאכילת כהן. You cannot give it to the Kohen, because he's not going to eat it. We'll see. ונמצא שאסור להפותה ביום טוב. So therefore, now you have a problem. You're not allowed to even bake it. Why? Because in Yom Tov, you're only allowed to bake for what? For ochel nefesh, something to eat. The question is, who's going to eat this piece of challah? You can't. It's for the Kohen. You can't. You separate it for the Kohen. You designated it. You designated it for the Kohen. In other words, you made this dough is for the Kohen.
No, not the whole dough. Part of it.
Exactly. So once you designated it, you're not allowed to eat it. And
even a part of it that you designated?
The part that you designated, you're not allowed to eat. It's not yours. It belongs to the Kohen. So
I don't want to eat this. I want to eat the rest of the challah.
Yeah, but the rest of the challah, go ahead, eat. That's not our problem. Our problem, what's going to happen with this piece of dough? You're not allowed to cook it. You're not allowed to bake it. It will rise and it become chametz. Why are you not allowed to bake it? You're not allowed to bake it because on Yom Tov you're only allowed to bake for the necessity of the Yom Tov. And since nobody's going to eat it, also now it's going to rise and it's going to become chametz. That's our problem. לפי שאפייה שלא לצורך היא. This is baking for not a need. Only that portion. Only the portion of that thing. Of the Kohen. And so it says, what's the problem? Burn it. So burn it. Excellent. It says, וגם לשורפה אי אפשר. Also to burn it, you cannot burn it. לפי שאין שורפים קודשים ביום טוב. Because one is not allowed to burn holy things like truma on Yom Tov. It says burn it before, burn it after. וכן אי אפשר להאכילה לכלב של כהן. You can't even give it to the dog of the Kohen. No, to the dog of the Kohen you might be able to give. Yeah, to the dog of the Kohen. שאף זה ביאור הוא. Because some say this is considered to be burning.
This is not chametz, it's
tameh. But it's going to become... Yeah, the problem is you're not allowed to cook it. So what's going to happen to it? Yours you're going to cook, but this what you're going to do with it now.
And what if you're going to cook it? So it's not going to be chametz?
You're not allowed
to stop the chametz?
You're not allowed to cook. Because in Yom Tov you're only allowed to cook. You're only allowed to cook for ochel nefesh, for the purpose of Yom Tov. Here you...
The Kohen cannot eat it, so you can cook it.
Yeah, that's right. Nobody's going to eat it. Nobody's going to eat it, so you have a problem. שאף זה ביאורו, you can't even feed it to his dog. ואין מבארים קודשים ביום טוב. And you cannot eliminate holy things like truma on Yom Tov. ועוד, and another reason, truma is an important food. שטרומה שהיא אוכל אסור לאכילה לבהמה. That truma, that is food, you're not allowed to eat it, to give it to food for an animal. כל זמן שהיא ראויה לאדם. That's the Meiri says. Even if you wanted to give it to the animal, you can't because it doesn't look nice feeding food of human beings to animals. Side issue. We don't give it to the dog because the dog... No, the truma is holy. Once you separate it, it's holy. It becomes tameh. Yeah. It's a tameh truma. Let's go this way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's a tameh separation. ואומנם ביום טוב אחר, in another Yom Tov, מפרישים את החלה מהעיסה שנטמעה. You're going to separate it. ומניחים אותו עד למוצאי יום טוב. If it was regular Shabbos, not Yom Tov, what would you do? You would separate it, leave it there, let it rise, ושורפים אותה. And then after Yom Tov, burn it after Yom Tov. אבל ביום טוב של פסח, but this is פסח, הרי אי אפשר להניחה עד ערב. You can't leave it the door over there until the evening. שמא תחמיץ, because it's going to become חמץ. We'll see.
For sure, after 24 minutes, מחמיץ.
We'll see. וכן, ואם כן, כיצד נוהגים? And if this is so, how do we going to do?
You know my opinion?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would bake the whole challah, the whole everything, without giving not taking this portion, make another dough, bataho, and from this, get twice for the Kohen.
A good trick, but I think you need to make from the batch, from each batch.
Because you already blessed Kiloma.
Yeah, you're making this batch. Yeah.
Something else.
Yeah, I think so. It's a good trick though. It's a good trick. I like it. ואם כן כיצד נוהגים, על כך נחלקו תנאים במשנתנו. So we're going to have difference of opinion of what one should do. כיצד מפרישים חלה בטומאה. So how are we going to deal with this piece of dough that was separated to the Kohen that becomes tameh? היינו מעיסה שנטמעה, from a dough that became impure ביום טוב של פסח. This is on יום טוב of פסח. רבי אליעזר אומר, Rabbi Eliezer says, I have a loophole. We can use a loophole. What's the loophole? לא תקרא לשם. It says, don't designate it as challah. Don't designate this piece as challah. In other words, so it says there's two ways to designate. We'll see soon. האישה הלשה את העיסה. It says the woman who's going to knead the dough, לא תקרא לשם challah. It says she shouldn't separate the challah in the beginning. In the beginning she shouldn't separate. כלומר, שלא תפריש את החלה עד שתאפה. It says first of all bake everything. Bake 10 bakes. And then put them in a basket. And then separate the one. After it's all done. That's right. Yeah, it's not. It's problematic. But it says you don't have a choice. So you're stuck. So do it this way. עד שתאפה. עד לאחר האפייה. It says separate it after the baking. Don't separate it before the baking. שבכגון זה מותר לאפיית את הבצק ביום טוב. Then we can cook, we can bake the entire thing on יום טוב, שכל אחד מהאכלות העשויות מהבצק ראויה לאכילה, שעל כל אחת ואחת אומרים, because each and one of them you can say, לא זוהי האכלה של הכהן, not this is the challah of the Kohen. ונמצאת האפייה של כולן לצורך היא, and therefore you bake the whole thing for, it says this is the challah of the Kohen, no, the other ones are, whatever it is. ואחר האפייה, so after she bakes everything, מפרישה אישה את החלה. A woman is allowed to separate the challah. And why the Rabbi Eliezer is matter? It's strange because you have to take from the dough, not from the baking. So even according to Rabbi Eliezer, it's problematic. So how is he going to get out of the problem? שכן סובר רבי אליעזר, בכד רבי אליעזר says, הרודה מן התנור ונותן לסל, הסל מצרפן לחלה. He has halacha. He says, if you make a batch and you take everything from the oven, all the small pitas from the oven, and you put it in the basket, it's considered to be like one dough. The whole thing, as long as you put it in a basket, the basket makes them all into one thing. And then you separate to the Kohen. He says, I allow this. Other people don't allow it. They will need to come out with different solutions to it, as we're going to see soon. ומוניחם אותם עד למוצאי יום טוב, and then he can keep it until Yom Tov is over, because it's not chametz. And no, Kohen cannot use it and burn it. It's tameh. The Kohen cannot use it and burn it. The problem is and burn it.
It's tameh, but it's not chametz.
It's tameh, not chametz. That's right.
You got out of the chametz.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rabbi Yehuda ben Beteira Omer, Rabbi Yehuda, the sons of Beteira, he says, I don't understand. Chametz is, all you need to do is to prevent the dough from rising. That's what you need to do. And there's solutions for that. I can prevent the dough from rising. How? Tatil betonen. Tafrish ha'isha min ha'isa kedin. She has to say, she cannot do the trick. It says he cannot do the trick of Rabbi Eliezer because I don't hold of that trick. It needs to come from the dough, not from the baked food. In other words, I don't hold that the basket of many breads is one basket. It's all one dough. That's what he doesn't hold. So it says the woman is going to take from the dough. ותטיל אותה במים צוננים כדי שלא תחמיץ, and she should put it in cold water, and the cold water will prevent the thing from rising.
For the whole holiday, you mean?
From the whole time until the end. All the Yom Tov, yeah. The cold water will prevent it from rising. It prevents it. Yeah. So Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera חולק על רבי אליעזר, רבי יהודה ben Betera disagrees with רבי אליעזר, שלדעתו אף בלא קריאת שם חלה. It says, even if you don't do it, אסור להפות את כל החלות העשויות מהבצק. You're not allowed to bake all of them. מאחר שאחת מהם אינה ראויה לאכילה, because since one of them, it's not for a purpose. You're not allowed to cook on Yom Tov for something which is not going to be eaten on Yom Tov. And this is not going to be eaten on Yom Tov. You're planning on burning it after Yom Tov. So you're not allowed to cook. ונמצאת אפייתה שלא לצורך. Therefore you're going to bake it for not need. ורבי אליעזר אינו סובר כרבי יהודה בן בטרה, רבי אליעזר doesn't hold like רבי יהודה בן בטרה, שתטיל בצונן, he doesn't say throw it into cold water, even though cold water sometimes prevents it from rising. Why? לפי שיש לחשוש, because he's worried שמא לא תיזהר יפה והאכלה תחמיץ. Maybe the person is not going to do it the right way. He's going to cover it all the way with water. He's supposed to cover it. It has to be cold and not hot water. Yeah, maybe you're not going to do it the right way, and then it's going to become chametz. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Yoshua now is going to come with a brilliant idea. Brilliant idea. You're going to like it. Amar Rabbi Yoshua. לא זהו חמץ שמוזרים עליו בבל ייראה ובל יימצא. It says, this is not the chametz that you have to worry about, that it's not going to be in your possession. It says, I don't understand why you guys making a big trouble out of it. It's not a problem. Make it chametz. What's the problem? Let it be chametz. See the brilliant here. שלאחר שבעל העיסה קרא עליה שם חלה, after the owner designated this a challah, which means who does this piece of bread belongs to now? Who does this dough belong to now? After you designated it and you said, after you designated it, who does it belong to? It belongs to the Kohen. Is it a problem if somebody is it yours?
Your problem?
Is it yours?
No.
It's not yours. What are you worried about? It says let it become chametz. You didn't say which Kohen it is belong to. You say it belongs to the Kohen. Not yours. It's not yours. You're allowed to have a non-Jewish vodka. For example, somebody in your house. That's not a problem. Yeah. It's not yours, it says. What's the problem?
You make the chametz. You make chametz.
Yeah, but after you designated it, in other words, it's designated for the coin. It's not yours anymore. Yeah. But the designation said, this is not mine.
Yeah. Once it's not yours.
That's right. What's the problem? שבא לעיסה קרא להשם חלה, אינה שלו, it's not his. וכתוב, ולא יראה לך חמץ. It said, your חמץ should not be seen. שלך אין אתה רואה, אבל אתה רואה חמץ של אחרים. It says you're not allowed to see yours, but you can see other people's. The Kohen's you're allowed to see. אלא, so what you should do, מפרשתה, she has to, what do you call it, separate it, מפרישה אישה את החלה ביום טוב, she can separate it on יום טוב, ומנחתה עד הערב, and she can leave it until the evening, עד למצאי יום טוב, ואם החמיצה, החמיצה. Even if it became leavened, big deal. It's not yours, the thing that became leavened, it's the Kohen's. שהחמץ של אחרים הוא, because this חמץ belongs to other people, ואין עוברים עליו בבל יראה בל יתמצא. It's not your property. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara, they say, the reason for their disagreement, שטעם מחלוקותם של התנאים במשנתנו, that the reason that they are disagree הוא שרבי אליעזר סובר, רבי אליעזר thinks, הואיל ולאחר שהפריש אדם את החלה, it says, since I can separate the challah, it says, Rabbi Eliezer says, why doesn't Rabbi Eliezer says this? Because Rabbi Eliezer doesn't hold that it can be done. Why not? It says, since after you separate the challah, you can go and ask for mechacham, a heter for the separation, יכולו להישאל לחכם ולעקור דיבורו. He can say the designation wasn't a kosher designation, so therefore it makes it yours really, because you don't have the power to completely cut off it out of you. Since there's a potential that it can come back to you, by how? By going to a sage and says, I separated, but I didn't mean to separate, and the sage is going to tell you, don't worry about it. It wasn't a separation. It means it's not really belonging to the Kohen, because you have an opportunity to bring it back. ונמצאת כל העיסה חוזרת לטבלה, and then the entire dough returns to its previous state, ושלא יהיה, and becomes yours again. לפיכך, therefore, אם החלה החמיצה, if the challah becomes leavened, עובר עליה בבל יראה בל ימצא. He says, you do transgress on בל יראה בל יראה, even though that it's to the Kohen, because in potential it can become yours. Because you can go to the Chacham and tell the Chacham, I misspoke, I didn't want to designate it. He says, okay, it becomes back to you. Since in potential it can come back to you, I don't allow you to do that. ואף רבי יהודה בן בתרא סובר כך. Even Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera holds this way, that when we say it's not your possession, it means it cannot, there's no way you can bring it back into your possession. Over here, there's a way to bring it back into your possession, then it's not really, it is a little bit yours, and you're going to be liable. אלא שהוא חולק על רבי אליעזר וסובר, but he disagrees on Rabbi Eliezer, and he holds שאסור להפות את העיסה כולה ביום טוב, that you're not allowed to bake it first, כמו שביארנו לעיל. It says you have to designate from the dough, not after the fact. ואילו רבי יהושע חולק עליהם וסובר, and Rabbi Yoshua disagrees with everybody, and he holds שכל זמן שלא נשאר לחכם, it says, but you didn't ask the sage to permit this dough to become back yours. So if you didn't ask it, you're good. אין אומרים, הואיל ויכול להישאל עליה הרי שלא. You do not say, since you can ask on it, it is belong. וההלכה כרבי אליעזר. And the halacha is like Rabbi Eliezer, that you cook it first, and later on you designate it afterwards. You have to put everything in a basket, and then you do it. Separate.
And this he say challah, but זה הכל מצה, זה לא חלה.
Yeah. Separate. Yeah, challah and matzah is the same thing. You know in Pesach, what's the bracha you make on the matzah? המוציא לחם מן הארץ. It's lechem. Yeah. We are so afraid that we forgot that it's bread. It's bread. It's unleavened bread, but it's bread. Challah, it's unleavened challah. That's what all it is. Challah and bread is the same thing.
Sometimes they call it matzah, they never call it challah.